everyone, and welcome to my channel. The sun is about to set right here on my face, so let's do this video real quick. Today I'm talking about Matilda the musical that's streaming now on Netflix. It came out on Christmas Day, but the movie has been showing in England for I think 2 months now. Matilda is originally a book by no other than Roald Dahl, most famous for witches, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, just to name a few. His style, it's kind of dark and very weird if you've seen the movies. Even the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory, and then you go to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you know, with Johnny Depp, that was kind of like dark and weird. And then when you watch Witches, in Portuguese was the Convention of Witches, or the Conference of Witches. Love that movie, love it, the original one. And then they came a couple years ago with the Anne Hathaway, Octavia Spencer Witches, which was okay, but I'm still a big fan of the original one. So I was kind of nervous about this Matilda because I'm such a big fan of the 1996 with Mara Wilson and Danny DeVito. But this movie is actually an adaptation of the London musical that premiered in 2010. And then it did so well that it actually went to play on Broadway. And I was lucky enough to see it on Broadway in New York. And let me just tell you, it was magical. It was just magical. Matilda the musical that's streaming on Netflix. Follow me here. There's a book that got adapted into a movie, that got adapted into a musical, that now is adapted into another movie. The 1996 Matilda with Danny DeVito and Mara Wilson, it's one of my It's one of my favorite movies growing up. So I'll do my best not to compare that movie with this musical version. First of all, whoever cast the kids in this Netflix, I mean, got the zoomies, but whoever cast the kids in the Netflix musical movie, I mean, bravo. The whole ensemble of kids, I mean, the talent was mind-blowing, from their dancing skills to their singing, to like the high energy of these kids were like incredible. The little boy that plays Bruce slays. I watched, before watching the whole musical movie, I saw the clip because it's on YouTube, the whole sequence for revolting children. And when I saw that little boy coming in the hallway, when they do that like sideways scenes and are coming into like the hallway, that little boy has more rhythm than I do. I would love to see a making of or behind the scenes of, the rehearsals. Because, I mean, I heard it was about 300 kids in this movie. You can pause it or put it in slow motion, and you see each one of them, even the extras in the background. Like I said, their dancing abilities, I was just like mind blown. And I want to give a shout out to Ellen Kane, who's the choreographer. And she did, Legally Blonde, Billy Elliot, because the choreograph of Revolting Children, it's so addictive. When I saw that clip on YouTube, I watched it over and over again. And then at one point, I just stood up and it started like trying to pick up the dance movement. We are revolting children. Na, na, na. The songs are super, super catchy, which I already knew because when I watched the show on Broadway, I left and I was walking on Broadway back to my hotel just singing, "When I grow up." Na, na, na. Speaking of the dancing, where was our homegirl Matilda this whole time? Because she's not really in the dancing numbers. I was like, Matilda, come on, bring on your dancing shoes, girl. Emma Thompson, who plays Miss Trunchbull, really committed to this role. She has a solo musical number. It's her first one in her office that at one point I was out of breath for her. I was like, wow, okay. But on the other hand, she was not as scary as Miss Trunchbull on the first movie, the 1996 version, because Pam, what was her name? Pam Ferris, I believe, who played Miss Trunchbull, was terrifying. terrifying. Remember that scene when Matilda and Miss Honey go in the house to get Miss Dolly, or Dolly the doll? I think that was her name, Dolly. But they go to get this doll, and Miss Trunchbull hears the steps around the house, and she screams like, "Who is in my house?" Then when she leaves her house and she sees someone, like somebody got away, and she's throwing something, she's like, "Ah!" She starts yelling. Oh, she was so scary. And here, Emma Thompson, not so much. She's also lacking a little bit of the humor that Pam Ferris brought to Miss Trunchbull. Iconic scene, little blonde girl with the braids, when Miss Trunchbull goes to her and says, "I told you, like, no pigtails." And the little girl, "But my mommy says I look pretty." And Pam Ferris says, "My mama said I look pretty," like mocking the girl, and then grabs her by the braids and, tosses her. Here, Emma Thompson, I don't know, I didn't get a chuckle out of her scenes. I know people in the comments are gonna say, "Oh, this is a totally different Matilda than the Danny DeVito Matilda." But I recently watched the 1996 version, and Matilda, it's a children's story, but it's also a family film. And watching the 1996 version, your inner child now as an adult, it still has that, eager feeling to rebel and, fight the system. With all due respect, I will compare the two Matildas. Sorry, not sorry. I thought the little girl here, it said Aisha, I think that's her name. I'm sorry. I have to get this video out before the sun hits my face. I don't have time to Google it. She's good, but I thought she was such an angry Matilda. She was mad the whole time. Mara Wilson brought so much warmth and kindness to Matilda. She was so endearing, and she was always laughing with her friends. This Matilda, if you look at her face, she hardly smiles. She's always like. Mara Wilson, who can forget that iconic scene where she's starting to learn how to use her powers after, she slams the door for the first time, and then the next day she's, playing with the cards. And what's that song? I can't sing it because I'll get copyrighted, but on my way, on my way. And then she makes the pancakes. She was so cute. Another thing about this Matilda, 2022 Matilda, can somebody brush her hair? I know she doesn't have a mom or a dad, or she's more into reading and books. Maybe she doesn't have time or learn how to comb her hair. 1996 Matilda had time to brush her hair. Remember when she was itty bitty little and she's like, brushing her hair, and she brushes her bang and ties her bow really nicely. I missed on this version her showing Miss Honey the first time that she's like, "Oh, it was me. I can do this." When she's trying, 1996, when she's trying to flip the water glass, and she goes, and Miss Honey says, "It's okay, Matilda. Sometimes we just imagine things." And Mara Wilson goes, she's so cute on that scene. She says, "Maybe I'm just tired." 2022, when she's trying to show Miss Honey how, that she can move the cup, right away she's able to show it to her. I felt like we didn't have a lot of time to explore Matilda's powers. And then we have Miss Honey. I don't know much about this actress that plays Miss Honey. I heard she's in The Woman King, which I haven't seen, so I can't speak about her outside work, but I did not buy her Miss Honey. And not even just her Miss Honey, I did not buy her relationship with Matilda. Even though I said her song My House was, one of my favorite songs in the movie because it was so touching and, kind of like heart, breaking. Her Miss Honey was really boring, and she didn't have much time with Matilda to build the relationship for it in the end, when the parents, the Wormwoods are like, "Matilda, come, we're gonna go." And Miss Honey was like, "No, I want to adopt her." When she says like, "Oh, Matilda can stay with me," I was like, wait, what? You didn't even spend that much time with this child. On the first one, they go on that adventure to go in Miss Trunchbull's house and get the doll. They spend more time together when you see them fixing it up, the house at the end when they're in the rollerblades and eating the chocolate. You feel like they have this mother and daughter relationship. And even when Danny DeVito comes and says like, yeah, you can keep her, but you know, she's our daughter, and Matilda already has the paperwork for adoption in her backpack, and she jumps on Miss Honey and gives her that hug and wraps, you know how kids, you know, wrap their legs around you and they hug you. The 1996 version was a lot more magical, I thought, and it also had more humor too. Even the parents, Matilda's parents, they were so funnier. Those two characters that you love to hate. And here, they didn't have much to work with because they weren't on screen a lot. But even when they were, I didn't really think they were funny. They had a little musical number at the beginning, and the lyrics are really funny. I had a good time watching Matilda the Musical, but like I said, my standards are so high because I saw it in person on the stage, and it's beautiful. If you did watch Matilda 1996 and 2022, which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the little bell notification button so you don't miss any future videos. And I'll see you next time.